Hi, everyone, and welcome to the 2019 Burning Bowl ceremony. I'm really excited to be here this year, every year, but each time I do it, it's just so much fun. So I'm going to actually make myself disappear and just share a screen with you. Hopefully, this will come up without any. Here we go. Let's see. There we go. So we're all set. I'm going to take myself out of the way and you will hear my voice, but you will see the PowerPoint. Alrighty. So thank you all for being part of this sacred ceremony. I love when we come together at the end of each year to really step intentionally out of the year of 2019, the year that's coming to a close, and step fully and intentionally into, in this case, 2020, right? The year and the decade that's opening up ahead of us. So it's my intention this afternoon, this evening, to provide you with an opportunity to take time out of your everyday life, right? Out of the busyness, out of your ego mind, the tasks, especially this kind of year, the worries, the judgments, and the fears, and to really step into a time of sacred contemplation and renewal. And we will do that in this ceremony through music and prayer, journaling, meditation, and conscious intention. Let me just move yeah. So we're going to quiet our minds and our bodies so that we can really connect with the deep place of knowing inside of us that really resides deep within, dropping out of this, as I call, conscious mind and into our heart. And we'll be doing a couple of different things here this year, as we always do in the Burning Bowl ceremony. The first will be releasing the energy, the heaviness, the beliefs of experiences, emotions, right? Limiting beliefs of the past, whether it's this past year, whether it's your entire past lifetime. And then we're going to be writing them down and energetically burning them away or transmuting them with the violet flame, the energy of the violet flame, which I'll talk more and explain a little more further along in case you don't know what the violet flame or Saint Germain is. And then we'll take time to envision your ideal future, right? Into 2020 or beyond. As I said, we're moving into a new decade, and the way that we set the beginning of the decade sort of sets the tone, if you will, for the rest of the decade. And we'll be considering all areas of your life and writing out your preferences, what you would like to create or manifest, what your higher self would like to call in, right? Always keeping in mind that this is really about connecting with your inner knowing, with your intuition, not so much what your ego mind is wanting to create. So if you don't already have, pen and paper, please take a moment to grab those now. And if there's something that you want to bring into your own space, like a candle or a meaningful object, a feather, a stone, a crystal, a divination card, right? Just go ahead and bring that into your space now. And I'll give you a couple of minutes to do that. So we know that the sacred act of releasing the past and envisioning the future is important every year and at different times during the year, right? Such as the new moon, the full moon, the eclipses and the solstices. We just had the solstice, right, on the 21st of December, and we are in an eclipse now in a window, which I'm going to speak about in a little more detail in a few minutes. But it's especially important today as we end this very chaotic, right, and tumultuous year of 2019 and step into the new consciousness that 2020 represents. And again, just to put a little context, a little numerological and astrological context and perspective here, I think is important. So numerologically speaking, 2019 adds up to 12. 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 9 is 12. We add a cross in numerology, and then we reduce that to its lowest. We add that again, 1 plus 2, and we get 3. So 2019 was a 3-year, and 3 is a highly spiritual number. And it actually served us as a time of deeper spiritual integration as your human self and your soul and the universe try to come into more balanced and grounded harmony through the power of 3, which is the number of the Trinity, right? Mind, body, spirit, or divine father, divine mother, holy child, right? However you might want to envision that. So I know the year felt crazy. It felt anything but harmonious or synchronistic, but it was really churning up a lot of things. The potent and powerful energies of chaos, so much destruction, loss of life, whether that was due to weather events or random acts of violence, and the breaking down of institutions and systems. We're seeing governments, we're seeing financial institutions, we're seeing the entertainment industry with the Me Too movement, right? All of this, all of these things that have these structures that have been in place are starting to crumble and break apart. These things that are no longer in vibrational alignment with the new higher vibration that we are hoping to usher in with this new energy clearly signal that we're in a time of great change and transformation, not only for us individually, but for our families, our communities, our country, and the world. Conversely, 2020 is a 4-year, a 4 vibration. And 4 is an energy that enhances structure, stability, and sort of pragmatism to build a secure foundation. So 2020 is really a year of very focused intention and grounding of energy so that we can really bring this new earth, I call it creating heaven on earth, that we are hoping to create, bring it more into reality, bring it from concept into something more concrete. And as I mentioned before about eclipses, we are currently in what's called an eclipse corridor. So there's a 2-week period here between eclipses. Eclipses shake things loose, right? Stirs the pot, triggers things up, and creates, in the stirring up and sort of heating things up, creates pressure to change, almost like a volcano, right? That chaos theory, when water is boiling and turning into steam and it changes the energetic structure completely. That's kind of where we are in these 2 weeks. There was a solar eclipse last week during Capricorn. So particularly if you are a Capricorn, you may notice loosening of old entrenched ancestral patterns, unwinding or unraveling. I am not a Capricorn, but I had an experience last week during some prayer time when I felt a deep connection to Mother Mary and then to my mother and my grandmother and an entire lineage of my maternal ancestral line. It actually brought me to tears. I felt a deep connection with this ancestral lineage of women who had come before me. So this is a time for releasing those old energies and really setting yourself free from the old patterns. And then we're looking forward to a full moon lunar eclipse on January 10th, 2020, which is going to bring in even more energy of change and transformation. So we're seeing, as I said, we're seeing this in countries, we're seeing this in nations, we're seeing this in institutions, financial institutions, churches, entertainment, all of these structures that have been in place. And personally, you may be feeling it as a time to make needed change. I feel it myself. I talk to clients in both my coaching and my therapy practice about this a lot. It's coming up a lot for people where they're not sure what it is even. I call it divine discontent. There's some rumbling going on. There's some discontent with their life the way it is. And I'm just going to invite you, when you're feeling this, not to resist it, because it is your soul calling you into something new, something higher, something different. And not as a form of punishment, but in a way of helping you move into a higher expression of yourself. If you don't listen to the quiet rumblings, the rumblings will get louder. And you don't necessarily want to invite illness or an accident or, something that really is going to wake you up, because you haven't been paying attention to the quiet rumblings. So it's futile to resist. So I advise you to go with the flow as best you can. Get out in nature, practice meditation, do some journaling, practice your gratitude journal, right? Ground yourself as much as possible as 2020 really launches in a new year, a new decade, and a real new evolutionary cycle. So as we go into this process, I invite you to do this releasing and envisioning. And as you do, to be especially aware of your intuitive voice, right? The part of you that knows what's going to serve you to let go of, and what your heart and soul are calling for you to step into. So allow tonight to really let go, to release, and lay down anything that keeps you from shining your brightest light or your most inspired voice in the world. Choose to become a co-creator, a conscious co-creator of your most expansive and brilliant self. I have my women's group called Birth Your Brilliance, and this is really what I'm talking about. Allowing yourself to be guided by your inner knowing, what's already inside of you. You don't have to create it. You don't have to think it up. It's already there. So become a conscious co-creator of your most brilliant, expansive self, so that you can then serve the world according to your deepest joy and your highest purpose, simply by being in a higher vibration, even if you're not sure exactly what that higher purpose is. And just trust that it will continue to unfold in the days and months and years to come. You don't have to know it all now. And if you've participated before in the Burning Bowl ceremony, you know that it's a very different energy than, a more typical or traditional New Year's resolution, right? So here, rather than giving something up or promising to do something out of a sense of guilt or shame or expectation or obligation or just should, right? We're great at shoulding all over ourselves. Here we'll take time to drop deeply into our hearts, to listen to your own divine guidance, to allow that which wants to be released and that which wants to be created to be revealed to you, perhaps in this moment or perhaps in the days to come. Everything doesn't necessarily happen right now, but because you've committed to this process, you've opened your consciousness, you've opened the door, if you will, to your higher knowing. And so things may continue to come to you in the hours or days or weeks or months ahead. It's not a process of the mind. It comes from a deep connection to your heart. And I've chosen these words of a prayer from the Change Me prayers by Tosha Silver. This is actually the sort of the ending of a longer prayer, but I thought it was particularly relevant for what we are doing here today. And it says, change me into one who can fully love, forgive, and accept myself, so that I may carry your light without restriction. Let everything that needs to go, go. Let everything that needs to come, come. And when you intentionally and willingly let go of the things from your past that are no longer serving you, Spirit is then able to assist you in healing and clearing that energy from your mental, your emotional, your physical, and spiritual bodies. And then it's up to you to not recreate those thought patterns and beliefs once they've been released and transmuted through the alchemical process of burning. The intentions that you set for 2020, when in the writing portion, will be anchored through the act of writing. And this creates a sacred contract between you and the universe. So together with others who are gathered in this sacred space, our prayers and our intentions are grounded deep into the earth and broadcast far into the cosmos. So as Maya Angelou says, everything in the universe has rhythm. Everything dances. And life is, or at least ought to be, a process of letting go and letting in, of releasing and allowing. This is the rhythm of the universe, the rhythm of life. This is divine rhythm, the flow of giving and receiving, where we have the opportunity to continually let go of negative beliefs, destructive emotions, unhealthy relationships, physical and material objects, as any tendency to resist change. And as we choose to let go and then let the spirit of life take over in us, it fills us with new life. It flows through us to recreate us in mind and body. We become in greater vibrational alignment with the truth of who we are and who our soul showed up here to be. Every spiritual tradition tells us that we must die to the old self in order to be reborn to the new, expanded version of your true self. And we recognize this truth as within, so without. We choose to declutter and clear out that which is currently taking up space in our mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical closets. We choose to consciously and intentionally let go of anything that doesn't support our unfolding into our highest potential and our highest good. The ceremony that we're about to enter facilitates change, taking us outside the habitual mental and emotional pathways that we ordinarily travel. It helps us build new neural pathways in our brains, overlaying the old neural pathways that have formed as a result of repetitive negative thought forms and mental habits. And in that spirit and of releasing and creating from our deep heart space, let's recognize the presence of spirit in this space and join together in this prayer. Dear sweet spirit, in this time of transition, of ending and beginning, of cycles and seasons, we call upon your presence within our hearts and invite your guidance during this ceremony. We ask that you send your breath of life into our hearts to ignite our inner light and help us to discern what is ours to release and what is ours to call in the year and decade coming ahead. Help us to put our ego mind aside and allow our hearts to lead in this sacred time and through this sacred practice. Amen. And so we move now into the time of releasing the mental, emotional, physical, spiritual energies that are no longer serving us. We're going to take about 5 minutes once I begin this process, and I'll just put some music on in the background. I'll invite you to just take a moment, place a hand over your heart, connect with your breath, invite spirit in as we just did through this prayer, and just begin to write down the things that you want to release whether it's from this past year or this past decade or going back through your entire lifetime. And I'll just invite you to try to stay in this heart space. So if you find yourself coming up and getting too much in your head, just give yourself permission to drop back down into your heart and continue writing. And I'm going to let you write for about 5 minutes. And you can start whenever you're ready. So I'll write for another minute or minute and a half or so. All righty. So let's bring this writing portion to a close. And now we'll get ready to do this energetic transmutation, energetic releasing through Saint Germain and the violet flame. And let me just share a little bit about Saint Germain and the violet flame in case you aren't familiar. So Saint Germain is actually an ascended master, and what that means is that he walked the earth as an actual human being in many incarnations, and basically reached the point in his Christed consciousness, in his ascension process, where he no longer, where he could move out of sort of the reincarnation and became an ascended master. And he has given us this violet flame as a divine gift and a tool to use to transmute heavy, dense energies that are no longer serving us. So it's an actual fire in energetic form, in in molecular form, that exists in the higher dimensions. It's real, and I invite you, even after today, to use it for anything that you're wanting to release. You can always call on Saint Germain and the violet flame. So it's really spiritual alchemy in action. And we know alchemy is, right, the ancient process of turning lead into gold. But the ultimate process of the violet flame is to turn our physical humanness back into sort of the divine beings, so that we are now divinely human. And its action is really used to transmute denser feelings, behaviors, karma into a higher vibrational frequency. And it helps us to move up that vibrational scale and come closer to ascending back into the divine being that we were when we came into form. And I know that all sounds a little out there, but it is a process of raising our vibration for the purpose of ascension, which means to become a divine human, or what some people might call a Christed being, not necessarily in the person of Jesus, but Christed meaning, a holy one, a level of consciousness that's really able to be attained by any person. So you can use the violet flame with any belief system. It's not attached to any particular religion or practice or association. It's really a neutral tool with no conditions attached to it. So let's go ahead and use it to release and transmute the things on your list that you wrote to be released today. So first we start by bringing the violet flame literally into your body. So if you have an angel, a master, a guide, or just your higher self, your own soul, to call in to assist you in this process, we're going to start by visualizing or pretending, because that's really what visualizing is. So just pretend that there's a ball of violet fire above your head, and you can see in the image here. And then just invite that ball of fire to come down and fill your entire body, every nook and cranny, every space in your physical body. And even in between the spaces, in the bone, in the marrow, in the fluids, in the tendons, in the ligaments, in the cells, right? Fill everything in your body. And once you have the violet flame fully in place in your physical body, I'm going to invite you to imagine it now coming out through your heart chakra, right in the center of your chest, and beginning to circle and spin around the outside of your body, however you imagine that, so that it's actually spinning around and encompassing not just your physical body, but your emotional body, your mental body, and your spiritual body. They all exist. We've heard the word aura, right? This field of energy that exists beyond our physical body. So imagine that the violet flame is now circulating around and encompassing and clearing and healing and transmuting any dense energies that are in any of those bodies. And we specifically in step through ask the violet flame to transmute everything that you wish to be changed or eliminated from your life. You can use words such as transmute anything and everything that's standing in the way of my being the highest version of myself or becoming a Christed being, right? Again, it's just about the intention and the feeling. Don't worry don't get too caught up in the vision or, the exact words. You really just have to hold the intention and the feeling. You can also add the phrase because we're not just healing and clearing this lifetime, and we have been incarnate, in my belief system anyway, in many lifetimes. So you can add the phrase to transmute anything and everything in all dimensions, all levels, through all time and space, past, present, and future, known or unknown. You can add that to your request. So you're really covering all your lifetimes, all your multidimensional selves since your soul came into being. And then the last step is to just ask that any negativity, any negative energy be changed into a higher frequency, right? We know that energy doesn't disappear. It can't be lost or deleted, but it can certainly have its vibration changed. And so we're asking the violet flame, along with releasing, also to just change anything else into a higher vibrational frequency. And to bring this to completion, you can repeat to yourself, I release and I let go of the things that no longer serve me. I give them over to Spirit, grateful for the lessons I've learned from their presence in my life, fully ready to realize them and knowing that all is well. Just sit in the energy of that for a moment as the energy of the violet flame continues to do its work. And then you can just thank the violet flame. And then we'll prepare to move into the second aspect, the second part of our ceremony tonight, which is now the visioning, right? Or the creating with conscious intention. That which you wish to manifest in your life in 2020. And just as we did before we went into the release process, once again, I'm just going to invite you to drop back into your heart. Once again, taking a few moments to close or lower your eyes, to breathe into a relaxed state of mind and body, to allow your awareness to drop down from your head into your heart, inviting Spirit to enter, guiding you into a deep knowing of what your soul desires to create in all areas of your life. Work, relationships, whether that's a primary intimate partnership or friendships, family relationships, work relationships, health, your finances, your spiritual and emotional life, or even just your leisure time. All areas, wherever you may want more joy, more abundance, more peace, more prosperity in the days and months and years ahead. So taking a few moments now to listen to the inner voice, to formulate positive and affirmative statements regarding the things that you want to manifest in the coming year. Allow your deepest desires to be expressed without limitation or condition, or trying to figure out how you will create these things. It's simply your job, if you will, right now, to just really tap in deeply to what your heart and soul are speaking to you. Leave the planning, the figuring it all out. Leave that to spirit or let it go for another time. Right now, it's just a time to allow and to begin to write down or journal the things that are coming. You can do these in the form of a list if that's what's most comfortable right now. Or you can write them in the form of a letter to yourself, beginning with the words, dearest beloved, and then inserting your name. And perhaps writing it as a story, starting with the phrase, I'm so grateful and happy that. And then allowing everything that follows to be written in a positive way, in the present tense, which gives your mind the message that it's already so, right? I am so grateful and happy that I wake up every morning with a beloved partner, and I'm so excited to start my day, right? Because I'm getting to do work that I love and that I'm abundantly, right, rewarded for. And so beginning to spell all of that out in the most positive language that you can. If you notice yourself going into a space of using, not or don't or can't or won't, whatever that might happen to be, like I don't want illness, or I don't want this bad thing in my relationship, take a moment and flip that around. What is it that you do want? You want vibrancy, right? And a sense of aliveness and vitality. You want peace and ease and flow and joy in your relationships. So use language that's supporting what you want, not what you don't want. Because on a vibrational level, if you're focused on what you don't want, that's the energy that you're putting out. Whether you're saying you don't want it or not, you're still holding that energetic frequency. So see if you can shift that around and create your list or your letter, however you want to write this in this moment, with positive, clear sentences or phrases that focus on what it is that you want to create. And I'm just going to put some music on again here and allow you to engage in that process for the next 5 minutes or so. And if you have finished your writing, you can always go back and reread your list or your letter, making sure that everything is stated in the present tense and in the positive. Perhaps add anything new that's still continuing to come into your awareness as you declare and affirm the wonderful year and life by seeing it as it's already been manifested. All right, so bringing this portion of our ceremony to a close now, in writing down your highest and deepest desires, you've made a contract between yourself and spirit, God, the universe, creator, source, whatever languaging you want to use. And in doing so, you've called in the powers of the universe to support your vision. And I'm going to invite you now to fold your paper and after we're finished here, to put it away someplace, and perhaps on your phone or in your calendar, if you still use a hard copy of a calendar, to make a note to yourself at the end of June or somewhere around the 4th of July to bring your visioning statement out again and just sort of check in and see where you are in relationship to that. If you want to make some adjustments, if perhaps there was something that you put on your list that you want to put a little more energy or attention on as you're entering the second half of the year. And in this, again, energy of setting intention and being open to receive, I'd like to share one more short prayer from Tosha Silver, from her Change Me prayers. Change me, open me, make me receptive to the unexpected. May I receive all that is meant for me over these next weeks and beyond. Let me know my worthiness to receive. Let me play with these new ideas as an adventure. And let me embrace what happens according to your will. I am yours. You are mine. We are one and all is well. And so that completes our burning bowl ceremony for this evening. Many blessings to you as you continue on into your evening and into New Year's Day tomorrow and into this blessed new year that we have been given. I'm going to skip over. This is a song that I was going to play here, but I think I'll just move on and share blessings again for a happy new year and a happy new decade. And thank you again for being with me during this ceremony and moving into this beautiful, joyful, and abundant year ahead. Alrighty, so that brings us to the end of our burning bowl ceremony. I want to thank you. I want to thank you so much for being here with me, for taking the time to sit and do your releasing and setting your intention. I hope you found this process helpful. Certainly feel free to share this with whoever you desire, or even use it again during the year at any other time. All right. Namaste, my friends. Happy and blessed New Year to you. Bye now.